Have you ever noticed how the loudest moments in your mind often happen when the world is completely silent? What if the peace you have been desperately waiting for is the exact thing you are most afraid of? There is a strange kind of exhaustion that comes from always bracing for impact. If you have ever felt a sense of dread creep in, the moment your life finally becomes quiet, if you find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you see this anxiety forever. 1. The weight of the quiet. Here is a truth few people want to face. Many of us do not know how to exist in peace. We do not know how to sit in a space where nothing is currently going wrong. The moment life slows down, the moment the daily chaos fades and you are left alone in a quiet room, your mind begins to scan the horizon for danger. You start wondering what you forgot. You start imagining the worst possible news. You brace yourself for a tragedy that has not even happened yet. You convince yourself that if you are not worrying, you are not safe. In Buddhist thought, this state of constant anticipation is a profound form of suffering. It is an attachment to a future that does not yet exist. We mistakenly believe that by worrying, by constantly staying on guard, we are somehow protecting ourselves from pain. Buddhism reminds us that the untrained mind is like a wild creature, leaping restlessly from branch to branch, always searching for the next threat. When there is no immediate problem in the present moment, the mind simply projects one into the future. It prefers the familiarity of anxiety to the unfamiliarity of stillness. Imagine standing on a beautiful, quiet beach. The air is warm, the breeze is gentle, and the ocean is calm. But instead of feeling the soft sand beneath your feet, you are staring obsessively at the distant horizon, searching for a dark cloud. You are so terrified of a storm that might never arrive that you completely miss the sunshine resting on your shoulders. You are standing in a place of safety, but you are living in a storm of your own creation. This is what we do with our lives. You finish your tasks, you sit down at the end of the day, and for a brief second, everything is fine. But then, the silence settles in. The phone is too quiet. An email has not arrived. Someone has not replied. Suddenly, the stillness feels heavy. It feels dangerous. You convince yourself that this peace is just a trick, merely the calm before a terrible storm. You sacrifice the quiet of today to pay the imaginary debts of tomorrow. Ask yourself, how many peaceful moments have you destroyed by anticipating pain? What are you afraid will happen if you simply allow yourself to breathe? Pause, breathe. Observe the thought without following it into the dark. You do not need to stand guard every second of your life. You do not have to hold up the sky. Let the quiet be just quiet. But letting go of this need to brace for impact is only the first step. Because beneath this constant vigilance is a deeply held illusion we must unlearn. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The illusion of preparation. What if the harder you try to prepare for the worst, the more powerless you actually become? Here is a truth that is difficult to accept. Your worry is not a shield. Many of us have convinced ourselves that if we just anticipate the disaster, if we play out every single terrifying scenario in our minds, we will somehow soften the blow when the bad news finally arrives. We treat anxiety as if it is a productive task. We believe that by holding our breath, we can stop the sky from falling. Think about the way you live when the world goes quiet. You replay old conversations to find hidden anger. You constantly check your messages, waiting for the one email or text that will ruin your day. You look at the people you love and suddenly fear losing them. You are rehearsing tragedy. You believe that if you suffer a little bit right now, you will not be caught off guard later. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us that this is a painful illusion. The need to control the future is one of the deepest sources of human suffering. In Buddhist thought, life is inherently unpredictable, and peace comes from accepting this truth rather than fighting it. We suffer not because the world changes, but because we demand that it remains exactly as we planned. We cling to the false belief that our fearful thoughts can somehow manipulate reality and keep us safe. Imagine a traveler walking through a peaceful, blooming garden. The sky is bright, the path is clear, and the breeze is soft, but the traveler is wearing thick, rusted iron armor. The armor is suffocating. It digs into their shoulders and exhausts their tired legs. They wear it because they are absolutely convinced that at any moment, a fierce battle will begin. The battle never comes. But because of the heavy armor, they never felt the warmth of the sun. They never experienced the quiet beauty of the flowers. They survived the garden, but they never truly lived in it. This is what happens when you use worry as a defense mechanism. In your daily life, this armor takes the form of emotional exhaustion. It is the inability to enjoy a quiet weekend because you are already dreading a meeting on Monday morning. It is the fear of resting because you feel you must constantly prove your worth. You are wearing heavy iron armor in a quiet room. You are fiercely protecting yourself from arrows that are not being fired. And in the process, you are crushing your own spirit. Ask yourself, has your worrying ever actually stopped a bad thing from happening? Has rehearsing the pain in your mind ever made the reality hurt any less? What heavy armor are you carrying right now that you simply do not need? Stop, breathe, let that sink in. You do not need to fight a battle that has not yet begun. Notice the urge to prepare for a disaster and gently lay the armor down. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. Worry is not preparation. It is simply the silent theft of your present peace. Because true safety is not found in aggressively controlling the future. It is found in letting go. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. Making friends with uncertainty. What if the unknown is not a dark room waiting to swallow you, but simply an empty space? Here is the truth we often forget. Not knowing what will happen tomorrow does not mean something terrible is coming. When life gets quiet, the absence of information often feels like a direct threat. We are addicted to certainty. We want absolute guarantees. We want to know exactly how a fragile relationship will unfold. We want a strict timeline for our healing. We want a guarantee that our hard work will be rewarded and that our loved ones will always be safe. When we are forced to wait in the silence of not knowing, we begin to panic. We instantly fill the empty, quiet space with our darkest fears, completely convinced that if we do not currently know the answer must be devastating. Buddhism teaches that this endless craving for certainty is a profound trap. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the reality of impermanence, the understanding that everything is always shifting, flowing, and unfolding. In Buddhist thought, the unknown is not an enemy to be defeated. It is the natural state of existence. When we violently fight the unknown, we are fighting life itself. Inner peace does not come from securing every guarantee. It comes from making peace with the mystery. Imagine a small wooden boat resting gently on a quiet, still lake. It is early morning, and a thick, soft fog has rolled in over the water. You cannot see the opposite shore. You cannot even see the water 10 feet ahead of you. A restless mind will panic in this fog, immediately imagining jagged rocks or violent storms hidden just out of sight. But the reality is much simpler. The water is calmly holding you up. The boat is perfectly safe. The fog is not hiding a monster. It is simply hiding the view. You do not need to see the entire lake to float safely exactly where you are. This fog is the quiet space between sending an important message and waiting for the reply. It is the long, quiet weekend before you hear back about a major life change. It is the agonizing silence of waiting for news you cannot control. In modern life, we view these waiting periods as torture. We pace the floor, we stare at screens, we strain our eyes, desperately trying to pierce the fog, exhausting ourselves by trying to aggressively solve a future that is not yet here. We forget that the boat is still holding us. We forget that we are okay right now. Ask yourself, can you allow a question to remain unanswered for just one more day? What would happen if you stopped demanding that? The future reveal itself to you right this very second. Is this desperate need for an answer bringing you peace or feeding your fear? Pause. Breathe. Stop trying to force the fog to lift. You do not need all the answers right now to be okay right now. You can let the unknown simply be unknown. Because true peace is not found by nervously trying to clear away all the fog in your life. It is found by learning to sit calmly within it. But how do we actually sit calmly when the silence feels too loud? How do we stop projecting ourselves into tomorrow? And this is where the next truth begins. 4. The art of returning to now. What if the only place you are ever truly safe is the exact moment you are desperately trying to escape? Here is the tragedy of a restless mind. We abandon the present moment because the present moment feels too quiet, too still, and too vulnerable. When the house is silent and your daily tasks are finally done, where does your mind go? It almost never stays in the room with you. It travels miles away. It leaps weeks, months, or even years into the future. You sit on your couch, but emotionally, you are living out a devastating financial crisis, a heartbreak, or a painful confrontation that has not even occurred. You completely abandon the only place where you actually have any real power, the present moment, to fight phantom battles in a future that does not yet exist. Buddhism reminds us that this division between the mind and the body is the root of profound suffering. In Buddhist thought, life only ever happens right now. The past is a fading memory, and the future is entirely constructed by your imagination. When you drag the imagined tragedies of tomorrow into the quiet spaces of today, you are crushing yourself under a weight you were never meant to carry. The practice of mindfulness is not about achieving a perfectly empty mind. It is simply the radical act of bringing your mind back to where your body already is. Imagine you are holding a single small candle in a massive, dark house. The gentle flame only gives off enough light to illuminate the 3 steps directly in front of you. A restless mind will panic in this house. It will stare into the distant black hallways, terrified of what might be hiding in the shadows upstairs. It will desperately try to stretch the tiny flame to light up the entire mansion all at once. But the truth is, you do not need to see the whole house to be safe. You only need enough light to take the very next step. This is what it means to return to now. In modern life, we are constantly trying to light up the entire house. You are sitting quietly at your kitchen table, holding a warm cup of coffee, but your mind is agonizing over a decision you have to make next month. You are physically safe. The room is calm. The morning is peaceful. But emotionally, you are exhausted. You are ignoring the quiet peace of the morning, all because you are demanding to see the end of a path you have barely begun to walk. Ask yourself, where is your mind at this exact second? If you drop the story of tomorrow, what is actually wrong right now? Are you truly in danger in this very moment, or are you just suffering from your own imagination? Pause. Breathe. Feel your feet resting on the ground. Feel the air filling your lungs. You do not have to solve the entire rest of your life today. You only need enough light for the next step. Bring your mind back to the quiet room. But letting go of tomorrow is incredibly difficult when tomorrow feels massive and terrifying. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. Letting go of the imagined future. What if the future you are so deeply terrified of does not actually exist anywhere except inside your own mind? Here is a hard truth about human nature. When life gets quiet, we do not just wait for bad news. We actively invent it. We become the tragic authors of our own lives, writing dark, painful stories about tomorrow, and then forcing ourselves to live through the heartbreak today. Think about what happens when everything is still. A loved one is running a little late, and within minutes, your mind has constructed a terrible accident. Your boss is quiet at work, and you immediately assume you have failed and are about to be let go. A minor ache in your body instantly becomes an incurable illness in your imagination. You grieve losses that have not occurred. You cry over heartbreaks that have not happened. You suffer through 100 different tragic endings before the day has even truly begun. Buddhism reminds us that a thought is just a passing event in the mind. It is not a prophecy. It is not a permanent truth. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhist wisdom is learning to observe a thought without becoming completely entangled in it. When we grasp onto our fearful imaginations, we forget that the future is entirely unwritten. We suffer deeply because we mistake our anxious projections for absolute reality. Imagine you are lying in an endless, quiet field, looking up at a vast, open blue sky. Far off on the horizon, a small, dark cloud appears. The natural wind would simply carry that cloud across the sky and away. But instead of letting it pass, a restless mind reaches up, pulls the dark cloud directly over its own head, and then complains about the rain. You have dragged a distant, unlikely possibility into your present reality, completely ruining a beautiful afternoon in the sun. This is what we do when we obsess over an imagined future. In your everyday life, this looks like obsessively staring at a project and imagining total ruin, even when you have done your best today. It is staring at a silent phone and imagining abandonment, even when you are deeply loved. We pull the dark clouds of tomorrow directly over our heads, and then we wonder why our daily lives feel so incredibly heavy and cold. Ask yourself, how many of your absolute worst fears have actually come true? How much of your precious time on this earth has been stolen by tragedies that only ever existed in your mind? Is this fearful story bringing you peace, or is it only feeding your exhaustion? Pause. Breathe. Observe the thought without following it. You are not a fortune teller. You do not have to believe every terrifying story your mind tries to tell you. Let the dark clouds drift across the sky without pulling them down, because releasing the illusion of tomorrow is the only way to realize how much power you actually hold today. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. Finding refuge in what is within reach. What if the antidote to overwhelming fear is hidden in the smallest, most ordinary things around you? Here is a truth we often overlook. When the future feels massive and terrifying, we mistakenly try to match its size. We attempt to solve our entire lives all at once. We stare at the vast, uncontrollable horizon of our future, and we completely freeze. Because you cannot control the outcome of a major life event, you suddenly feel powerless. You abandon your daily life. You stop noticing the small, beautiful moments because you are entirely consumed by a massive, looming unknown. Buddhism teaches a profound lesson about this kind of paralysis. In Buddhist thought, peace is not found by escaping the world or solving every grand mystery. It is found by returning fully to the simple, tangible tasks right in front of us. There is an ancient wisdom that reminds us to simply chop wood and carry water. When your mind is scattered by the immense, crushing weight of tomorrow, peace is found by consciously contracting your focus to what is immediately within reach. It is the practice of anchoring your spirit in the ordinary. Imagine a quiet, sturdy tree standing on the edge of a sweeping valley, as a harsh, dark storm begins to roll in across the mountains. The tree does not attempt to stretch its branches wide to control the vast sky. It does not try to wrestle with the roaring wind. Instead, It sends all of its energy downward. It pushes its roots deeper into the dark, quiet earth directly beneath it. It survives the terrifying storm not by fighting the immense sky, but by holding firmly and quietly to the small, steady patch of ground it stands upon. This is exactly what you must do when the quiet moments bring you dread. In modern life, when the waiting feels agonizing and the future feels far too large, you do not need to figure out the next 5 years. You only need to make your bed. You only need to wash the single bowl resting in your sink. You only need to fold your clothes, drink a warm glass of water, or step outside to feel the cold air on your face. We often dismiss these small physical actions as completely meaningless when we are caught in deep anxiety. But they are not meaningless. They are your roots. They physically pull your restless, wandering mind out of the terrifying future and anchor it back into the solid reality of right now. Ask yourself, when fear overwhelms you, how far away is your focus? Are you trying to control the entire valley, or are you tending to your roots? What is one simple, ordinary thing right in front of you that you have been completely ignoring while trying to mentally solve tomorrow? Pause. Breathe. Bring your attention back to your own 2 hands. Do one small thing today with total presence. Let the rest wait. You cannot control the vast, unpredictable sky of the future, but you can always tend to the ground beneath your feet today. You can always return to what is within reach. But what happens when even the smallest actions feel like too much? What happens when the exhausting weight of waiting has simply left you too tired to move? And this is where the next truth begins. 7. The courage to rest. What if the hardest and most necessary thing you can do today is absolutely nothing? Here is a truth we fiercely resist when life feels uncertain. We have been conditioned to believe that rest is a luxury, something we are only allowed to experience after the storm has completely passed. When you are expecting bad news and the world around you goes quiet, rest feels incredibly dangerous. You feel utterly depleted by the endless waiting. Your mind is exhausted, your body is tense, and your spirit is heavy. Yet, the moment you sit down to rest, a wave of guilt washes over you. You believe that if you let your guard down, for even a single second, disaster will strike. You convince yourself that staying hypervigilant, even when you are too tired to think straight, is the only way to keep yourself and the people you love safe. You treat your own exhaustion as if it is a protective shield. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us that forcing yourself to suffer out of fear is not a virtue. It is simply another form of clinging. We cling to our own exhaustion because it makes us feel like we are actively doing something about an uncontrollable situation. In Buddhism, true compassion must always include compassion for oneself. When there is nothing left to do, when the emails are sent, when the waiting has begun, continuing to torture yourself with worry does not change reality. It only destroys the one vessel you will need to navigate whatever tomorrow brings. Imagine a small seed buried in the deep, cold earth during the longest night of winter. The soil is freezing, the wind above is howling, and the sun is entirely hidden. A fearful, restless mind would demand that the seed push through the frost, fighting the brutal winter to prove its strength. It would demand action, panicked by the long, dark quiet. But the seed does nothing of the sort. It does not fight the dark. It simply rests in the quiet, freezing earth. It knows that winter cannot be defeated by force. It survives the harsh, terrifying night, precisely because it has the courage to remain completely still and wait for the thaw. In our modern lives, we constantly fight the winter. You are emotionally drained, waiting for a dreaded phone call, an important decision, or a difficult conversation. You feel completely emptied out. Yet, when you lie down in your quiet bedroom, you refuse to sleep. You stare at the ceiling in the dark, replaying every worst-case scenario. You subconsciously believe that your insomnia is somehow protecting your future. You feel guilty for watching a movie, reading a book, or closing your eyes. When everything in your life feels so incredibly unresolved, you are punishing yourself with sleeplessness, thinking it shows how much you care. Ask yourself, is your deep exhaustion actually changing the outcome of tomorrow? What terrible thing do you secretly believe will happen if you finally give yourself permission to just close your eyes, pause, breathe? Let the heavy weight drop from your shoulders. You are allowed to step off the battlefield for a little while. You do not have to hold the entire world together tonight. Give yourself permission to simply put the burden down. Rest is not surrender. It is how you survive the winter. But lying down in the dark requires more than just physical stillness. It requires a profound, quiet belief in your own resilience. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Trusting your capacity to endure. What if the deepest fear keeping you awake at night is not actually the bad news itself, but the secret belief that you will not be able to survive it? Here is a truth hidden beneath all our anxiety. We spend our quiet moments bracing for impact because we severely underestimate our own strength. When you sit in the silence, waiting for the other shoe to drop, you only ever imagine the tragedy. You vividly picture the rejection, the failure, or the heartbreaking loss. But in all those terrifying scenarios you invent, you always leave something crucial out. You forget to imagine your own resilience. You picture a catastrophic storm, but you imagine yourself as fragile glass, ready to shatter at the very first drop of rain. You are terrified of the quiet because you fundamentally do not trust your own ability to endure what comes next. In Buddhist thought, true peace does not come from creating a life where nothing ever goes wrong. It comes from cultivating a deep, unshakable trust in your own inner refuge. Buddhism reminds us that pain is an inevitable part of the human experience, but shattering is not. When we stop clinging to the fragile illusion of a perfect, painless life, we discover a profound inner strength that was always there, waiting quietly beneath the fear. Imagine a small bird resting high in a tree on a very thin, fragile branch. As the wind begins to blow, the branch shakes violently. A restless mind would stare at the fragile branch and panic, terrified that it is about to snap and send the bird plummeting to the ground. But the bird is completely calm. It is not panicking. Why? Because the bird's trust is not in the fragile branch. Its trust is in its own wings. Even if the branch completely breaks, the bird knows it can simply open its wings and fly. This is what it means to trust your capacity to endure. In your life, the branch is the job. You are afraid of losing the relationship you are desperately trying to hold together, or the unknown news you are agonizing over. We stare at these fragile branches in our lives, entirely convinced that if they break, we will fall and never recover. We forget that we have survived every single bad day we have ever faced. We forget the times in the past when the branch broke, and we discovered, to our own surprise, that we knew how to fly. You have navigated heartbreak before. You have walked through the dark before. You have rebuilt your life from the ground up before. Ask yourself, are you placing all your peace in the fragile branches of your life, remaining perfectly intact? What if you shifted that trust back into yourself? Do you really believe that one piece of bad news will completely erase your ability to heal, adapt, and keep going? Pause. Breathe. Remember the storms you have already survived. You are not made of glass. You will bend, you will feel the pain, and you will grieve, but you will not shatter. You do not have to nervously guard the fragile branches of your life every second of the day. You can trust your own wings, because when you finally trust that you can survive the fall, you stop being so terrified of the wind. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. The freedom of letting life be. We began this journey in a quiet room. You were sitting in the stillness, holding your breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You were carrying the unbearable weight of tomorrow, convinced that if you just worried enough, you could somehow control the future. You have spent so much of your life treating peace as if it were a trap, treating silence as if it were a threat. Think about everything we have explored. You have worn the heavy, rusted armor of worry. You have panicked in the quiet fog of the unknown. You have reached up and pulled the dark, imagined clouds of tomorrow directly over your own head. But you have also remembered your roots. You have remembered that you do not need to light up the entire dark house, but only the very next step. And you have remembered that, even if the fragile branches of your life break, you possess the wings to survive the fall. So, what if you simply stopped fighting? Buddhist wisdom reminds us that true freedom is found in the profound practice of letting things be exactly as they are. This is the ultimate lesson of non-attachment. Letting go does not mean you stop caring about your life, your loved ones, or your future. It simply means you stop trying to forcefully bend the universe to your will. You stop demanding that tomorrow hand over all of its secrets today. You accept that life is a continuous, unfolding mystery, and you finally give yourself permission to live in the present chapter without frantically trying to read the end of the book. Imagine a vast, powerful river winding its way through a deep valley, eventually flowing out toward the calm, boundless ocean. If you stand in the middle of that river and aggressively try to push the water to make it move faster, you will only exhaust yourself. You cannot rush the river, you cannot force the current, but if you simply lie back, the water will gently carry you exactly where you need to go. The quiet moments in your life are not the terrified silence before a devastating storm. They are simply the gentle current of the river. You do not need to push the water. You do not need to tense your body and mentally brace for a waterfall that is not there. You can just float. When you expect bad news every time life gets quiet, you are robbing yourself of the very joy you are so desperately trying to protect. If difficult days arrive, you will face them. You will use the profound strength you have built. You will bend, you will endure, and you will heal. But the difficult day is not today. Look around you. The room is quiet. The air is still. You are breathing. You are entirely safe. You do not have to hold up the sky anymore. You do not have to nervously guard the door against imagined ghosts. Ask yourself one final time, what would happen if you simply let today be okay? Pause. Breathe. Release your rigid grip on the future. You have permission to completely enjoy this quiet. You have permission to lay down your exhausting worries and finally rest. Inner peace is not something you have to aggressively chase or nervously defend. Peace is simply what remains when you finally stop fighting the unknown. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. You can let go now.